Hi, I'm Andrew Thomas. I'm the letterer on Dead Romans, and you're listening to the True North Country Comics Podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics Podcast, dedicated to promote Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Andrew Thomas about his work with Stop Comics, Auric of the Great White North, and more in preparation for Toronto Comicon 2024. This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe to that video channel. Toronto Comicon is a spectacular 3-day sci-fi, horror, anime, gaming, and comic book event in Canada that attracts thousands of people to come to the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Hailing from southwestern Ontario, Andrew Thomas is a comic book artist and letterer known for his contributions to renowned titles such as Kevin Smith's Quick Stops for Dark Horse, Captain Canuck, Archie Comics, and his groundbreaking Canadian exclusive for Star Trek Strange New Worlds for IDW. In addition to his artistic achievements, Andrew has received recognition for his lettering skills, notably earning the Favorite Letter Award from Sequential magazine. His lettering expertise has enriched projects like Masquerade for Dark Horse, mostly for Boom, Rat Queens for Image, and the critically acclaimed Dead Romans for Image, amassing over 200 lettering credits. Andrew also serves as the co-creator and artist of the Canadian indie series Auric of the Great White North, celebrated for its distinctive narrative and remarkable artwork. So without further ado, here's my chat with Andrew Thomas about his work with Stop Comics, Auric of the Great White North, and more in preparation for Toronto Comicon 2024. So Andrew Thomas, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Thank you so much for having me, John.
Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy fellow. Before we get to all the questions, I'd like to ask you, what are you reading today? What's on your bedside reading table?
Actually, I'm rereading Spawn. It's been a while since I actually sat down and read any of Spawn, so I wanted to go and read Spawn, especially since they had the monumental 350th issue that just came out. And plus, I was kind of a bit of on a Spawn kick, during the, Todd's Spawnuary month for the competition that he was hosting, which I got to contribute a couple pieces for.
Nice.
So yeah, it was just that kick just kind of got things going, and I'm like, you know what, let's crack open, start from the very first issue. So yeah, that's what I'm reading.
Good stuff. You can't go wrong there, that's for sure. So we're talking today because you're going to be tabling at Toronto Comicon 2024. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask you, what do you like about conventions the most? What keeps you coming back?
I really enjoy the camaraderie, like with other creators. I love seeing the creators. I mean, for someone who works from home, attending a convention, is kind of, not only is it refreshing for my mental health, but it's also a fantastic opportunity to catch up with friends and colleagues, and I love also seeing some recurring fans, that come and see me and pick up what's new and stuff, and like, so we get to catch up with them, and I get to kind of tease them on what's coming up next and what I'm working on, or we celebrate something that I just had worked on. Sometimes I love geeking out too with celebrities. Like, last we spoke, we were talking about, Star Trek, and it looks like we're going to have some of the cast of Strange New Worlds come to Toronto Comic Con. So I'm super excited to get some more signatures on my, on my copy of Strange New Worlds. So yeah, there's so much that goes into it, that I look forward to. It's just, it's a blast too. And then, especially with the, other, I guess, smaller town shows, like going to like Cornwall or up to Stratford. There's a small show out there. You get to meet the the locals there, and you get to explore the community and taking some of the sites, and if you get an opportunity, the hidden gems in their city and stuff like that too. So it's the travel, it's the people, it's the love of comics and pop culture and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky being in Toronto that we have access to a variety of shows without having to break the bank, I guess, for travel.
Oh,
But it's always a good
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You've mentioned this. We've met up many times at conventions and festivals in the past. So I'm wondering, do you have any favorable moments? You even mentioned the Star Trek crew, but do you have any others that come to mind that are very memorable?
I mean, I did talk about also about me meeting Kevin Smith at the Calgary Expo a couple of years back, and where he gave me the job on the spot, which was, of course, I'll never forget. But in the most recent, actually, this happened just past this weekend. I was up at not a convention, but it was, it was a comic shop in Newmarket called Wayside Comics and Cocktails, and I had someone come up to me and they told me that they loved what I did for my lettering on Dead Romans. He says it's not only such great lettering, but it's the best lettering I've seen for any comic project ever. And so I'm like, wow, I was just taken
Yeah.
aback, and I was, just kind of speechless because like I've never heard such high praise before. And I'm like, wow, that like I really did something right for him to, to come out and say that. So
Nice.
that was a really fun moment because I don't consider myself, I don't put myself on that high up the ladder, or I don't hold myself in such high regard as a status as as a creator, as opposed to many other fantastic creators. But like to get praise like that, or to people coming in and tell you how much they really enjoyed or how much they really connected with the thing that you did, it really means a lot to me, and it motivates me to to continue and to keep going, and it means that I'm on the right path.
Absolutely. I mean, you give characters voice. I mean, without you, they're just characters on a page just trying to say something and nothing comes out of their mouth,
Oh,
right? So
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
you are the speech master, the person that makes a character really like you can feel and connect with them. Yeah, the image is good. I can go, okay, that guy's going through something, but what is he saying? You are the person who brings
Right,
him to
right.
life. So you got to take credit for that for sure. The unsung hero, I think, of comic
Oh,
books.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
what we are, the unsung heroes.
Very important. So we were talking about Toronto Comicon, and you're going to be tabling there. I'm wondering what will be on your table when people come by to see you.
In addition to my copies of Strange New Worlds and the Quick Stop Volume 1, I'm also going to have Quick Stops Volume 2, the variant cover that I did with Capcan Comics. So I will also have that new to for sale, as well as we're going to be debuting an ash can for issue 6 of Auric, which the full issue is scheduled to be released for Fan Expo in August. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally, we've gotten, the gears together, and finally going to complete that first story arc. So Ashcan coming out in a couple of weeks. That's going to, you're going to get a 5-page preview of the issue. And I'm thinking I'm just going to give them out free with, with any purchase, anyone comes along, buys an Auric book or anything like that, and I'll get a free Ashcan.
That's very generous of you. Wow.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about that not too long ago. We were kicking around ideas. Basically, we're kind of just talking about our roadmap and what we see ourselves doing in the next couple of years. And I've gotten really busy to the point where I've had to kind of push Auric back, for quite some time. But this year was definitely the year that I'm like, okay, we got to get that out, and that we have a lot of great plans for the finale. And then next year is going to be the 10th anniversary of the very first issue of Auric, so it'll be 10 years of Auric, and we have stuff planned for that too.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, so it's just me and the Auric creative team, Davis Dewsbury, Sharon Gauthier, and Josh Rose. We're just kind of, when we, get together and start, throwing out ideas, there's a lot of stuff that we start cooking up, and we get excited for it too. So.
Sure. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Auric is a fan favorite for sure. I know it's been nominated for a lot of awards and won some too. So that's great that you're working on that. Do you have any other? I know that's a lot of work for you, but do you have any other projects on the go that you can talk about? Maybe down the road.
As of right this second, there are a couple that are still waiting to be announced, and I'm really, really, eager to announce it. I'm kind of just like waiting on bated breath until they give me the green light. But also, I'm working on a couple of indie series. Quick Stops Volume 2 is still being released, or is still releasing. So the 3rd issue is scheduled for a March release, and then the 4th issue will be, I believe, is going to be in April. I know there will be a season or a Volume 3 And I think Kevin wants to write another, volume of Masquerade as well. So there
Okay, yeah.
is, yeah. So there's definitely plans. Well, there's still, future plans for Kevin and Secret Stash Press, which is great because that means that I have work.
Yeah, work is good.
And other than that, yeah, that's really off the top of my head. That's the only really thing I can think of, which is kind of good because I mean, certain events, came about, earlier this year, which kind of gave me a lot more time to work on, Auric and really focus on, creator-owned projects and stuff like that, which is great because that really is my root, and that's how it all started, right? So,
Right.
so absolutely, I feel like I have a little bit more breathing room now, to finally accomplish, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, and it's not a train. That's good.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one thing I've been meaning to ask you is about your tools. Do you have a go-to tool for doing your work these days?
I do. I mean, when I'm at home, my work is primarily digital, and I use, especially for lettering, I have a nice PC setup, and I use Adobe Illustrator to letter, do my work there. When I'm drawing, I use Photoshop, and I have a 13-inch Wacom Cintiq, which I'll do that. But when I'm at conventions I want to actually doodle something, I actually recently picked up, and this was a recommendation from one of my artist idols, Rob Guillory, and these are Zebra brush pens. They come in a different variety of tips. I have an extra fine one, and then I have about a medium-sized brush, and I've been playing around with it, to kind of get the feel of it, and it's fantastic. What I'll do is I have a like a light blue, like photocopy blue pencil, like a drafting pencil, and I'll kind of rough out, block out what my image and all that stuff, and then I'll use the different pens that I have. With the different weights, depending on the level of detail and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been trying out these new Zebra brush pens, and I think they're absolutely fantastic.
Good to hear. You are definitely a professional in the comic book field. There's no doubt about that. So I want you to imagine someone comes up to you at Toronto Comicon 2024 and says, I'm going to make my first comic book. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give to this person?
I'm going to give them the same piece of advice that someone told me a long time ago, and it says, if you're going to learn how to create your own comic, then you need to learn how to letter. And it's as simple as that, because your art could be absolutely the most gorgeous, bang on, amazing, piece of art that anyone has ever sing, but amateur poor lettering is going to ruin it. It's going to take the reader out of the experience. And definitely pick up Nate Picos's of Blambot's Essential Guide to Lettering, and learn how to letter your own comics, because I mean, in the end, it's not just the writing and the artwork. There is so much more that goes into comic making than those elements. It's you're doing the lettering, you're doing editing, you're doing setting it up for printing. You got to choose what's the best paper stock for your book. So there's like so much that goes into it. But yeah, absolutely, learn how to letter your comics.
I guess that's something that people forget to do. They figure, oh, I just need an artist and I've got the story and away we go, but not realizing that's an important element. Like some people I've seen, not going to name names, just use like regular type from a computer, throw it in a word balloon and say, I'm done. That's not really the way it should be done. Eh?
No, it's an art form, just like, just as you're illustrating your comic and all that, you extend it to lettering as well, because the typeface that you choose for your comic, matters. When you're doing sound effects, you're color coordinating, so you don't want to, choose something that clashes or that just stands out or hits the eye wrong. It's got to blend. The art, the lettering, all that stuff has to has to bleed together, so to speak. So absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you've told me about a lot of stuff you've got on the go with Quick Stop, and you've got Auric coming and all sorts of fun stuff. Where do you recommend people go online to find out about your current and your future projects?
So you can find me on Instagram and Threads. The Fat Man Who Letters is my handle, and you can also find me on Facebook. My page is The Art and Letters of Andrew Thomas.
Thanks to Andrew for the chat. You can discover more about Andrew Thomas on Instagram at The Fat Man Who Letters. And thanks to you for listening to the True North Country Comics podcast. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to and like this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Remember to check out the TrueNorthCountryComics.com website. True North Country Comics is now on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to that video channel and hit the notification button. You can follow along at True North Country Comics on most social media sites. You can always send your feedback to John at TrueNorthCountryComics.com. Thanks again for listening, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2024.